Why should you read or know about Schopenhauer? 1. You will learn the right way to philosophize or do philosophy. 2. Learn to apply the principle of sufficient reason in various fields. 3. Learn the why of science. 4. Learn the why of logic. Before embarking on the fourfold root of the principle of sufficient reason, we give a brief bio of Schopenhauer. Arthur Schopenhauer was born on February 22, 1788, Danzig, Prussia now Gdansk, Poland. He died September 21, 1860, Frankfurt am Main in Germany. He was a German philosopher, often called the philosopher of pessimism, who was primarily important as the exponent of a metaphysical doctrine of the will in immediate reaction against Hegelian idealism. His writings influenced later existential philosophy and Freudian psychology. Schopenhauer was the son of a wealthy merchant, Heinrich Floris Schopenhauer, and his wife, Johanna, who later became famous for her novels, essays, and travelogues. In the fall of 1809 he matriculated as a student of medicine at the University of Göttingen and mainly attended lectures on the natural sciences. As early as his second semester, however, he transferred to the humanities, concentrating first on the study of Plato and Immanuel Kant. From 1811 to 1813 he attended the University of Berlin, where he heard such philosophers as J.G. Fichte and Friedrich Schleiermacher, with little appreciation, and in Rudolstadt, during the summer of 1813, he finished his dissertation, Über die Vierfachwurzel des Satzes vom zureichenden Grunde, on the fourfold root of the principle of sufficient reason, which earned him the Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Jena. In that same winter the Orientalist Friedrich Mauger, a disciple of Johann Gottfried Herder, introduced him to the teachings of Indian antiquity, the philosophy of Vedanta and the mysticism of the Vedas, the Hindu scriptures. Later, Schopenhauer considered that the Upanishads, the philosophic Vedas, together with Plato and Kant, constituted the foundation on which he erected his own philosophical system. His next 3 years were dedicated exclusively to the preparation and composition of his main work, Die Welt als Wille und Vorstellung 1819, The World as Will and Idea. The fundamental idea of this work, which is condensed into a short formula in the title itself, is developed in 4 books composed of 2 comprehensive series of reflections that include successively the theory of knowledge and the philosophy of nature, aesthetics, and ethics. Before proceeding with the main topic, here is a little quote on Hegel illustrating our hero's no-nonsense style. Hegelianism. What is it but empty, hollow, nauseous twaddle? Yet how brilliant a career was that of this philosophical time-server. A few mercenary individuals had only to strike up a laudation of this stuff, and they at once found an echo to their voices in the empty hollow of 1,000 numbskulls, an echo which still continues to resound. We start the fourfold root of the principle of sufficient reason proper. Plato and Kant recommend a rule, to serve as the method of all philosophizing as well as of all other science. To philosophize we use 2 laws, the law of homogeneity and the law of specification. The law of homogeneity simply says that if you are classifying entities such as animals, then each member of the class, say rabbits, must have similar characters, properties, and behaviors. You cannot have a flying rabbit. Law of specification says that any 2 entities under a common parent entity, that is entity 1 and entity 2, are instances of entity. For example, living things has 2 classes, plants and animals. It must have adequate discriminate. The discriminate is plant cannot move, whereas animals can. This is also referred to as Occam's razor. Entities should not be multiplied beyond need. What exactly is the principle of sufficient reason, PSR? In one sentence, everything must have a reason, cause, or ground. Now what is everything? Sun, moon, and stars. A tree, a cockroach, a fly. Sunrise. Sunset. Lightning. Google reason for fly to exist, and see what comes up. All of them answer questions such as the utility of a fly or its role in the ecosystem. Take an example. Fact is, the earth is round. Sufficient reason is a planet is round because of gravity. A planet's gravity pulls equally from all sides. Gravity pulls from the center to the edges like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. This makes the overall shape of a planet a sphere, which is a three-dimensional circle. Limitations of PSR. It is an open question whether the principle of sufficient reason can be applied to axioms within a logic construction like a mathematical or a physical theory, because axioms are propositions accepted as having no justification possible within the system. The principle declares that all propositions considered to be true within a system should be deducible from the set axioms at the base of the construction, that is, that they ensue necessarily if we assume the system's axioms to be true. However, Gödel has shown that for every sufficiently expressive deductive system a proposition exists that can neither be proved nor disproved. This is one of Gödel's incompleteness theorems. The principle, if applied to existence of things successively, leads to infinite regress. 1. Mosquito exists. Reason: there were mosquito eggs. 2. Why were there mosquito eggs? Reason: dirty water. 3. Why was the water dirty? 4. Keep asking why on the answer to last question. You will be asking an infinite number of questions. Some philosophers have put an end to the regress by saying God is the root cause. Also, if we say God created the world, and someone asks why did he do that? PSR breaks down. If you have come till this point, please share and subscribe to interesting channel. Before Schopenhauer, Aristotle was the first to distinguish between reason and cause. Cause equals physical cause, effect equals logical consequence. Descartes confounds reason and cause and is the real father of the ontological proof of the existence of God. Spinoza confused the principle of the reason of knowledge with the principle of causality. Schopenhauer finds that the second of these two laws has been far too rarely applied to a fundamental principle of all knowledge, the principle of sufficient reason, PSR. To the extent that PSR enables or forces us to ask questions, PSR can be called mother of all science. 1. There are many cases in which the principle of sufficient reason finds its application but can't be reduced to logical reason and consequence or to cause and effect. Lot of confusion and errors creep in due to not distinguishing different use cases. Different use cases are dealt with in detail in the fourfold root of reason. The phenomenal world is the world of cause and effect. Schopenhauer follows Kant in saying that you have no direct access to the world. The representations are all that you have access to. You are in front of a scenery and cold wind is blowing. Your eyes see the scene, body feels the cold wind and causality. Principle makes you think that what is causing the cold wind? Brain processes information from the senses and forms representations of the objects: mountain, waterfall, trees, etc., linked together according to united laws of space, time, and causality. One principle of sufficient reason of becoming the law of causality and is applicable only to changes. Thus, if the cause is given, the effect must of necessity follow. Example: throwing a burning torch on a house sets it on fire. Cause is throwing a burning torch. Effect is house on fire. 2. Principle of sufficient reason of knowing. If certain premises are given, the conclusion must follow. This is deductive logic. Example: all syllogisms, such as the syllogism if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. 3. Being, the third class of the principle, is concerned with being in space and time, and shows that the existence of one relation inevitably implies the other, thus that the equality of the angles of a triangle necessarily implies the equality of its sides and vice versa. This class shows interrelations. 4. Willing, fourth class, deals with actions, and the principle appears as the law of motivation, which states that a definite course of action inevitably ensues on a given character and motive. This is law of motivation. The action of removing your hand from a hot pan results in because of motive: you didn't want to burn your hand.